You have put in dozens, maybe even 100 resumes and got nothing. No response. No, no, thank you. No, you're not the right person. Nothing. And you really do start to wonder, well, is it me? Is it what I'm offering? Is it my resume? Is it my approach? Well, yeah, it could be, but overwhelmingly the odds are it is the system, the hiring system, the technology of it that you are up against. So look at it this way. For the average corporate job posting, there are 250 applications put in. No human's going to go through all of those. So they rely on the system. And by the way, out of that 250, only 4 to 6 people will get an interview. Here's a really big one. A recent study by the Harvard Business School in surveying Fortune 500 companies, 98% of them say they use these systems and admitted that qualified, highly skilled candidates are being rejected outright by their systems. You hear that? So it's probably not you, it's the system. It's what I call the invisible filter that lays between you and even getting in and even being considered. So in this video, I'm going to briefly give you some insight and understanding of how the system works. It's something that you've got to know. And then why it's stacked against, get a load of this, experienced people. It's actually stacked against people with a lot of experience, which also translates sometimes into older applicants. And then I am going to give you a free downloadable PDF if you want it, but in the video I'll explain to you a very simple, doable process that can allow you to potentially get around that invisible filter and get considered. Okay, the most used big company, and maybe you've run across this before in putting in an application, is Workday. 60% of the Fortune 500 companies use it. But there's also Greenhouse, iCIMS or ICIMS, Talio, and Lever. And what they offer is an applicant tracking system, or ATS. And so the way it works is that your resume gets inputted into the system and it is looking for specific matching between your resume and what the job posting is. And when I say exact, I mean the exact words, the keywords matching up. If you don't do that, odds are you're going to get kicked out or put down at the bottom of the pile. And so here's one example for you. If you said that in your resume, 20 years of managing teams, but the application called for led cross-functional agile pods or whatever. You've got to figure and be prepared for the fact that it's looking for that exact language, not managed teams. It may give you 0 points in terms of whether or not to keep you going into the process if you don't match up. Here's some more on what I call the experience trap. And it comes from probably the world's foremost expert on this, and that's Joseph Fuller, who is at the Harvard Business School, and he's also the co-chair of the Project on Managing the Future of Work. And in 2021, he did the largest survey of this kind ever, talking to over 2,000 executives in the United States, UK, and Germany. And when it comes to this experience thing, here's his quote. The system values those who have the credentials that are marketable now and discredits or puts much lower emphasis on experience. So it's really looking for those key skills that are marketable now, that are up to date to now, rather than overall experience. And then a second thing about the experience is that when that software can see you've got 25, 30 plus years of experience, well, that at least raises the issue. Now, how it reacts or what the criteria is of that particular employer is up to them. But what it red flags is because you've got a lot of experience, you may expect more money in terms of a salary. or you may not be a cultural fit, or healthcare may be expensive, or you may be heading toward retirement. So when you come up against these barriers, I say, as I call it, you become an AI ghost, that you exist, but you're invisible to the hiree. So I want to be clear that companies like Workday and Greenhouse are not going to be programming their ATS systems to be ageist. For the one big reason that ageism in the workplace, such as hiring and firing, is illegal in the United States and most other countries. But that doesn't mean it doesn't feel like ageism, or in a unintended way, to put it in quotation marks, it ends up being kind of like that. But technically, legally, it's not. So there you're aware of these barriers, these invisible filters that you're up against. What can you do about it? Well, you don't try to fight it. You try to get through it and around it. And what you're doing is you're going to use your AI to convince their AI that you're a worthy candidate. I know a lot of you are probably thinking right now, I already know what to do, Paul. I'm going to put it in ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, and you know what? Yeah, I get this polished, generic, vanilla, like everybody else's resume that may or may not be taking into account the very invisible filters that are keeping you from being considered for a job.
You can't expect an external resource, whether it's a piece of AI or a resume writer or some guru out there who tells you, "Oh, I've got the technique to do this," including me. You have to drive the process. You cannot give yourself over to someone else's bias, someone else's methodology. You have to use it for yourself.
So that's John Tarnoff. He is a career coach. He's an author. He was in the movie business as an executive, and he got fired a whole bunch of times. So he knows what he's talking about because he has kept up to date on all of these trends for many, many years now. So instead, we need to reframe the way we use AI and enable it in a very special, unique way to do what we need.
I will ask it follow up. I will say, and I think the more specific, the better, where you say to it, what else what questions am I not asking? Right? What are the unknown unknowns? Sometimes it will come back with relevant responses. Sometimes it won't. Just imagine it's a PhD intern.
An AI PhD intern. I love that phrasing because that's a great way to look at it. I have found that with myself and other people who I know that use AI very effectively with their work, it's like treating it as another human being that's very capable, but they're not the ultimate authority and they're not the ultimate decision maker. You are. And you've also got to have the quality of the information, the input, and the parameters in your prompts that will enable it to be aligned with what you need. And like a human being, don't always trust it. Trust but verify. But what you're really using it for is you're using it for research. You're using it for preparation and to challenge things. A really important thing in your prompts often is to say, don't be nice to me. Be brutally honest. Tell me the truth. Because a lot of these programs are kind of made to be nice and encouraging for you. You've got to convince it otherwise. Sometimes I've had to do it 3 times. You're being too nice to me. Go imagine. So what I'm going to give you is 3 prompts that you can put in to do the kinds of things that you need to do based on what we've been talking about. And it's very important that you do all 3 and you do them in order. And by the way, so you're not furiously trying to take notes right now, down in the description or the comment section, depending on where you're watching this, is a link to a free downloadable PDF that'll walk you through it, and you can copy and paste the prompts into your AI. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is copy and paste that job posting, the job that you're going after, and put it into the prompt. And then in the prompt, put in these words: act as a senior hiring manager at this company. I'm going to share my resume in a moment. Read it the way you would read a real applicant, somebody competing against 200 other people for this role. And by the way, you may need to put in the name of the company, maybe even the web address, although it doesn't really need it. So you see what you're doing? You are telling it what person it needs to be when it reviews your resume. You're putting it in the mindset with the criteria that hiring manager or ATS system has. Here now is prompt number 2. And for this, you're going to paste in your resume as it is now, or if you've got different ones, the one that's most appropriate for this job listing, and then put in the following prompt. Give me the 3 reasons an ATS or an early stage screener would reject this resume for this specific role. Then give me the 3 things I should re-emphasize to get past the filter. Be specific and don't flatter me. There's that thing about tell me what I need to hear, not just what I want to hear. Okay, and then prompt number 3 is the tailored rewrite. Here's what you do. This is after you've done those first 2 and in the proper order. In the prompt, you write, using the audit, rewrite my resume for this specific job. Go section by section. Keep my voice, keep my actual accomplishments and details. Don't invent experience. Don't inflate titles. Make sure the language matches the keywords in the posting where it's accurate to do so. So now you understand better. Now I hope you also understand that it's not me, it's you, meaning to the technology that you're up against. So download the free PDF, use these prompts, put them in exactly as they are. And 2 other things. Subscribe. This is the first in a series of what I call the invisible filter. And so you'll get notifications when more of these come out. And also leave a comment. What are you up against? What are you challenged with? What's working for you? Share it so that other people in the same situation will share with you or respond to you. It's a wonderful thing that when that happens, because it really does benefit us to have a collective effort to find that job that you deserve, that's right for you, and the way forward that's right for you as well.